Hello YouTube. This is a response video to SarahDarleen. I will put the link to her video in the notes section. So first, let me say thank you for the video. It was very heartfelt, and I think you made a lot of good points. I did want to proffer a few ideas about the state of the goth YouTube community as I see it. I don't often predicate based solely on conjecture, however, as I'm new to the YouTube scene, that's exactly what I'm going to do. So just keep in mind this is from my perspective and based upon my experience, so usage may vary. I find that the goth YouTube community is a bit of a unique ecosystem, sort of tucked away from the larger expanse of the subculture. To use a nature metaphor, the way I see it is as a bit like a moss-covered pond that's tucked away in a deep dark forest. But is still connected to the larger ocean of goth, but only by this sort of babbling brook with all these stones and narrow passages that kind of bar entrance. And the reason I say that is because I think there are a couple reasons, well, several reasons why the goth YouTube community isn't larger and doesn't have more people sharing. So that my argument for this is twofold. My first thought is that there's a price of admission, so to speak. Well, actually, literally. It does require some amount of funds, whether that be for a laptop or for some type of camera. Which, you know, it's something that's not necessary for day-to-day life, which is one of the reasons why I hadn't bought a web camera or a professional camera for so long, because it was just money I didn't need to spend that I could use for other things I needed more. And of course, you have to have some semblance of technical knowledge, which in this day and age seems a bit silly, but especially I think with the older generation of goths, a lot of my friends who are in their 40s, while they may have knowledge of, they use Facebook and things like this, they don't necessarily find value in things like YouTube, or don't have the computer knowledge to run that type of thing. So my second point is that I think there's a bit of a sort of an uncanny valley feel, a synthetic feel to YouTube, not necessarily in the watching of, but in the making of. Sarah mentioned in her video that for her, making YouTube videos is therapeutic, which is completely valid, and I think this type of thing can be taken that way. However, for me, and I think for many people, I think that sitting alone in a room, speaking to a camera, is sort of an aberrant experience. And I think that a lot of people have a fear, especially goths who are notoriously introverted, have a fear of opening up to others. Especially in a sort of public speaking sense. Public speaking is one of the the largest phobias there is. Um, and it is, it's on YouTube, which is notorious, infamous for trolls and hurtful comments. So you're having a very personal, revealing experience, and sort of a unnatural setting, and then posting that to the internet, especially a site where there's the possibility for harsh criticism. That can be quite a daunting thought. And finally, just another thing to throw in there, something that I've experienced. As far as finding videos on YouTube, there is the larger, the more well-known bloggers in the goth scene, the top 5 or top 10, if you will. And for a long time, I thought that's all there were. Recently, I've discovered there's many, many more goths making YouTube videos. They just don't get any exposure, and the way YouTube is set up, I think, is not optimal for finding people. You can find videos you're interested in, subject you're interested in, but not necessarily people, as well as other social media sites like Twitter or Facebook, Tumblr, that type of thing are. So I think YouTube should do something about that to make it easier to suss out those smaller, lesser known, YouTubers who have, who get 50 to 100 views on their videos. And I think that would really help grow the community. So a combination of all of those is what I find the bars many people from joining up to YouTube. But I do agree with what you said. I think if we can grow the community, that it could be a great asset to many people. A lot of goths are isolated where they live and don't have the sort of social connection that that support group, especially in a subculture where it's notorious to be isolated. I think having that sort of support group, even virtually, it could be a great asset to many people. So those are my 2 cents. Take it or leave it. Thanks for watching the video. I do have another video in the works. I just haven't gotten around to filming yet, but hopefully that's coming soon. And thanks for watching.